Hello everybody, this is Ina and I'm here to show you how to live your best life through entrepreneurship. Are you ready for this? This is a live episode, which means that there is no fancy screens or me commuting or anything like that, but I just wanted to jump in real quick. I like to keep these episodes super short, and if you're new to the show, welcome. The show is called Commuting Bites and there's many more out there, so go and find them. Definitely subscribe. I'm going to put a link somewhere over here. Subscribe so that you can see when I come live again, and I have a lot of things to teach you. So today I wanted to talk about when should you decide to quit your job if you don't have one lined up. So that's a really hard decision to make, obviously, which is why you're here, and nobody can make that decision for you. Not even I can do it. What I can do is I'm going to share a tiny bit of my experience, and I'm going to give you 5 things you should definitely keep in mind if you're thinking of making the jump, okay? Don't do it without these 5 things. So if you were looking for advice, that's what you're waiting for. Look for it, all right? So first of all, I wanted to tell you, I was not the brave one, right? I was not the one who said, okay, I am sick of this, I am resigning today and I'm starting a business tomorrow and I am going to take on the world, and the next day I was making 7 figures. That's not how it works. The truth of the matter is that business ownership is hard. It's not something you can just flip on and start making money. Making money with a new business takes a very long time. It takes finding the audience. It takes knowing what to do about finding the audience and then how to keep them engaged. So that's the stuff that I teach in all of these courses. So a little bit of my story. I was a corporate junkie. I worked late. I got there early. I loved what I was doing. I was a project manager, which is perfect for my personality. I like to get things done. I like to tell people what to do and follow up, and I love having relationships with people. So my job was just perfect for me, and there were many times when I was very happy. I was very happy with everyone I was working with, but at the same time I was depressed. I suffered from depression. I couldn't really pinpoint why. I kept turning to my other relationships in my life and saying, maybe that's why I'm depressed, because this relationship is off the rails, when really that wasn't so. I really didn't feel like I was being my genuine self. I felt like I needed something more, but my life had been decided for me when I was 10. I remember being 10 and being in computer class and saying, I'm going to be an electrical engineer and I'm going to go to this university, which I got into, by the way, and I'm going to go into this type of job, and I'm going to have an office with a whiteboard, because that's kind of what I remember from my parents' offices, and that's going to be my life. I'm going to have the 2.5 children and the picket fence, and then I will retire, and then I'm going to die. My life was decided for me when I was 10, and that created a lot of turmoil inside of me. I didn't want it, but that's what I thought my life was supposed to be. So once I made it there, once I had the picket fence and the 2.5 kids and the great career in corporate, I was breaking down. This is not what I wanted for my life. I didn't know what I want for my life. So I started to investigate, okay, what does it take to really start a business? I've been entrepreneurial since I was little. I was inventing things. You know, I invented the Apple Watch. Now, I had no idea of, electronics or anything, but at age 9, I was taking the TV and I was writing diagrams on how to miniaturize television on your watch. So I've always wanted to do something for myself, and I didn't think it was in the cards for me. I'm like, okay, maybe in my next life. Those were the thoughts that were going through my mind. So finally I started doing things on the side, right? I found myself with a little bit of time in my hands once I had my first kid and I was on maternity leave, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna try to give this a shot. So that was 6 years ago. I started a business making websites for small businesses, and I'm still in business. I still collect support every month from my clients. I still do webmastering, and that's something I started 6 years ago. But what it really gave me was perspective. It showed me that my job is not the only thing in the world for me. It's not my only universe. There's so many things out there that I could be learning, that I could be doing. And just because I'm working in corporate doesn't mean that I can't do them. So I started my side business. I incorporated a couple years later, and it's been great. And I'm like, okay, so how do I do this full time? So that's when I decided, okay, actually, it wasn't even a decision. I was not brave. I was not brave at all. I had my second kid. I went into maternity leave again. I was not excited about going back to work. My husband opened the doors of me possibly staying home for a year. And I said, it's an opportunity. I'm going to take it. And I'm really going to see how does this business ownership thing go. So I was not brave. The opportunity came and I said, yes, I'm going to do it, and I'm fully going for it. So I'm going to tell you how it's been working out, because in my situation, we slashed our income in half. I was making 6 figures in corporate, and now I wasn't. My income completely slashed in half. We could not afford our lifestyle any longer. So these are the things we did. These are the 5 things we made sure we had before I jumped ship. All right? And these are things I want you to keep in mind. Are you ready? Let's start. Number 1, having savings. So my husband and I have been very, very good with our finances. We've been very good at not being overspenders. Now, I'm not the bag your lunch kind of person. Neither of us are. We've always bought lunch at work. But those are the kinds of things that you start to think like, okay, how can I save a little bit of money, right? So for you, you need to start figuring out, how are you going to save money to have a little nest egg, so that when you decide, or when the situation arises when you no longer have a job, you can actually do something else. You don't have to jump. You're not in an emergency situation where you need to jump into another job right away. So very, very important to have savings. I'm gonna tell you one thing that I did to save money. I'm gonna tell you that at the end, kind of as an action for you. It's going to be super cool, you'll see. So having savings. Calculate, do you even know how much you spend a month on your actual expenses, on your house, on electricity, on water, on food? What are your basic expenses, right? And what are the nice to haves? Could you live without the nice to haves, right? So you need to do all that math. Can you afford being out of work for a few months? And for how many months? How much do you need to be out of work for 6 months or a year? Do the math and start saving every time you get a paycheck. This month you're getting a paycheck, 10% of it, put it into savings. Don't think about it. Don't even look at it. Just do it, right? It's just for the future. You're not gonna decide to quit your job 1 month and then what are you gonna do? Start saving now. Number 2, family support. So having a business is hard enough, all right? Starting a business is a very, very hard thing you're going to start doing. If you don't have your family behind you, it's going to be that much more difficult. So speak to your partner. Make sure you guys have, make sure you guys have had that financial conversation. Make sure that you are ready to make compromises with them, because this is their life too. It's not just your life. So make sure you got them, all right? You are going to need them. Number 3, have a plan. Do you even know what you want to do with your business once you quit? Do you know what the steps are? Educate yourself and have a plan with milestones. I'm not even talking about when you're going to start to make money, but have a way to make money, all right? So what are you going to do? Are you going to do a digital product? Are you going to do, all the stuff? I have business models, a list of business models for you that are covered whenever you sign on to my mailing list. I send that to everyone that signs on, because I want you to know these are the business models online that you should think about, and just pick one, go with it, whichever one you like the best. And in my PDF, I tell you exactly what it takes, what the business model is, tips and tricks of the trade. So you will want to get that. To go to my mailing list, just go to inacoveney.com/join. That will get you there. All right. And I will put that in the notes in the description. But those 6 business models are huge. You're just going to need that. All right. So pick one and have a plan. You're not going to spend the next 6 months researching a business. pick one and know what the steps are and how to make money on them so that you can bring that date to bring money as close to you as possible. It doesn't mean you're not gonna make bank the first day, but it means that you have a plan that you can iterate on. Number 4, get help. This was a huge one for me. If I could tell you how many blogs, how many podcasts I have started thinking that this is it, but not having any idea what social media or engagement looks like, it would blow your mind. It never worked out because I had no idea what I was doing. So get help. When I quit my job, which was this past January, I immediately signed on with a business coach who I meet with every single week. She has been through this. She has been doing this for several years, and she knows exactly what to do to start to make money, to get engagement, to put yourself out there, how to use each social media. Without her, I would not be where I am right now at all. I would probably still be researching. I'd probably still be working on my website. So you really need somebody not only to keep you accountable, but to tell you what the steps are to actually make it there. It does cost money. It is an investment in your business, and I would say it's the most important investment that I ever made in my business was this. So 4, get help. Find a coach and follow their advice. Number 5, and the last one, make sure that you're quitting for the right reasons. All right? So you can quit because you hate your job. Perfectly valid reason to quit. But starting a business, it's not something that is related to your old job. Other than transferable skills, you're not starting a business because you hated your job. Those two things are not related. So make sure that if you're gonna quit to start something, it's not because you're running away from something, but because you're being pulled into something that you love. So I just want to make sure that whatever it is that you do, you absolutely love it. Because guess what? It is going to be work. And if you don't love it, you're not gonna stick to it, you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna succeed, and you're gonna say, well, I gave that a shot and it didn't work, I guess I'm going back to work. So put yourself in a position to be set up for success. All right? It's super easy to say that, right? But it's very hard to implement. Do everything for the right reasons, and work will not feel like work. I'm working right now, and this is just fun. But I have a plan, and I know what I'm doing, all right? So you do the same thing. If you pick something that you don't love, you're not gonna stick to it. It's just not going to work. It's way too much work for you to even spend time on it. So definitely make sure you're quitting for the right reasons. Make sure you're jumping into business ownership for the right reasons. So now I'm going to tell you what I want you to do, because the first thing is this money situation, right? It's your savings. All right, so I have an action for you. I did this the whole month of November last year because I wanted to find out how much I could really save, right? And think about it. It's not just about automatically putting money into savings, which you should be doing. It's how much can you prevent yourself from purchasing, right? I'm an impulse buyer. It's true. I don't like doing research. To me, it's a waste of time. I prefer to buy it and return it if I don't need it. That's the way I buy things. So this is what I did in November. I installed an app to track expenses, right? But instead of tracking my expenses, what I did was I tracked my savings. And the way that I did this was every time I was going to put something on my credit card, before I gave it to anyone, before I sat down at a restaurant, before I did anything, I thought about it and I said, do I absolutely need this? Can this wait a month, right? So for example, I was at the mall and I was, with my stroller just walking around, and I saw this place for Belgian waffles, and it was right after lunchtime. It was perfect time for a dessert, and I looked at it and I went and I looked at the prices, and it was like $8 for like Belgian waffle with all this chocolate goodness and stuff. And I looked and I said, if I weren't saving money right now, I would totally buy this. So instead of buying it, I went to my app and I said, Belgian waffle, $8. I saved myself $8. So that's the exercise that I want you to do for a month, is the things that you would normally just go and buy, stop yourself, give yourself a month break from that and say, can this wait a month? Yes or no? And if it can, write it down in your app, and I want to know how much you can save a month just by controlling yourself. It's a super cool exercise. So that's what I want you to do right now. And also put 10% of your paycheck away. Just do it. So what I have for you is, if you join my mailing list, I have a bonus that is associated to this episode. And that is a corporate skills matrix. It's a matrix that I created that it has a job description on the left. You could probably find your job there. Your corporate job description, the hard and soft skills that are associated with that position, which you probably already have, and how it applies to entrepreneurship. Because I want you to read that, I want you to find yourself, and I give you a tip. I tell you, actually, these skills would be perfect for you to offer this type of service to a client, right? So if you're thinking of starting a business, start here. What are the skills that you already have that other people would find useful, other people would find helpful? So go download it. It's inacoveney.com/13. Now, it's not just a freebie for anyone. It is a bonus for people who sign on to my mailing list, which means that I am going to be sending you emails every single week with really good, beefy content. And sometimes I'm also going to remind you, hey, I'm about to go live if you want to come and watch. And I usually have something going on live. So yes, you want to be there. I'm going to be reminding you of things. I'm going to be telling you things that are coming up for you to take advantage of, because I have a lot of free stuff out there for you to get your feet wet, for you to get, in the waters, and see how it looks to be an entrepreneur. And also, I have a 5-day challenge coming up where I'm going to get your butt in the seat, and I'm going to get you to start really thinking about what your business will be like, what are the next steps, and start to get you to take action. That 5-day challenge is coming up, but you have to be signed up to my mailing list so that I can tell you when to start and when to go register. So go. If you go to inacoveney.com/13, 13 is the number of this episode, that's why it's that. You sign on to my mailing list and I will send you that bonus, the corporate skills matrix bonus. If you go to inacoveney.com/join, you get the 6 business models. You can also get the 6 business models through my website, so you can also go there. So if you want both of those things, you can do both of those things. You don't get signed on to the mailing list twice. I only have you once, but you get those 2 emails. All right. So with that, I'm going to cut this. I don't know why I always want to keep this between 5 and 10 minutes, and I end up doing 17. It's actually 17 minutes.